Okay, I'd like to open up the county, October 18th, the county government meeting. First up is MIS.
All right, good evening. My first one is going to be renewing our contract for the municipalities.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
All right, next one is, after 6 months, I got the acceptable use policy taken care of. So I'd like to, this is going to be updated from the 2011 one we had. So I kind of tweaked that a little bit to the current affairs.
I'd love to hear sort of what top lines, I looked through it, it all made sense, but what were some of the top line changes that you made?
So a lot of it was the wording in the old one was very antiquated. It didn't cover things like USB and multi-factor authentication and, you know, all the key things we've been tweeting about all these years.
Yeah.
So I wanted to cover it. I wanted to make sure that we had some leg to stand on if something happened. And I'm not saying the county employees are malicious in any way, but if it happens, we have something to protect us from, you know, all that. So, I mean, I thoroughly, as much as I could, got through everything, and I'm hoping that it was, you know, is clear enough. So, but yeah, we just.
Unfortunately, you learn in time.
You do.
What USBs, thumb drives?
What's that?
Are you talking about thumb drives?
Thumb drives, yes.
Okay. Sorry, old fashioned.
No, we're okay. Yeah, because that can be one method of somebody infiltrating. You know.
Duplicating material.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Ordinarily, like, also they leave them around.
right, and somebody picks it up.
Yeah.
Right,
I've seen it.
perfect.
Any other questions?
I have a question. Are you gonna recommend multi-factor authentication for anyone using the, like, an employee, mail address, email address?
Yes. Yeah, we actually deployed it, for Google, but we're also going to roll it out in November for our, remote access VPNs. So the employee will be required to use multi-factor. We use it for Duo, when they log in
So
remotely.
every time they log in.
Remotely. So when they pull up the client to log into the county network, it's gonna pop up a Duo thing, pops up on their phone, and they just say allow. It helps eliminate any brute force entry. So, we prefer to have it that way.
Because from a municipal perspective, as I fill out this survey each year to try to increase my score for cybersecurity insurance, that's one thing that's always sticking. That seems like it would be not a terrible inconvenience, but something that may be problematic for all the handheld device use that we have.
Yeah.
On the county now.
Yeah, we can definitely help you, you know, deploying the multi-factor for your email, as well as if you want to have remote access in any way. Just let us know, we'll take care of
Thank you very much.
And increasingly, we're seeing our vendors are doing that, but in terms of getting information, they're asking you to verify every time you sign into their site to download documents.
And in turn too, for our vendors, we're requiring them to use our multi-factor.
Right.
And if they can't, it's unfortunate, but we might have to come on site.
Right.
So we don't want any loopholes. Thanks.
Did you
Any other
move it?
questions?
Did we move it?
Not yet.
I'll move it.
Second. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And lastly, one more year, I'd like to keep on Rick until I can get my project coordinator and my CSS filled. We have some big projects, i.e. BOE is still an ongoing thing. DSS is still being combed through. If you guys seen the years in that data closet, it was, it's an interesting site. So he's been working on that diligently. So I just need a little more love again.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Real property?
You want me to stay here? I have a cold.
Yes.
I'll stay over here. I don't care. I can be loud.
We know, no.
Okay. So my first resolution request is to do data collection for the town of Livingston.
Hold on. I got Hillsdale. They're out of order.
All right.
We'll
so
fix it.
Hillsdale.
No. Stay with your Livingston.
So the first one is for Livingston. They don't want to go through a full valuation of every parcel at this point in time, but they would like assistance from the county to go out and verify the inventory data that, that they have and update photos for the assessors. And, they plan to budget for it over a 3-year period. They have about 1,900 parcels, and they'd be paying us over that 3-year period close to $21,000.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So the town of Hillsdale, Austerlitz, okay, Austerlitz. Hillsdale and Austerlitz basically, but they're two separate resolutions. They both decided to move forward with 2026 full revaluation projects. Austerlitz has 1,500 parcels. Hillsdale has 1,650 roughly. And, Austerlitz would be paying close to 26,000 and Hillsdale would be paying close to closer to 29,000 over a 3-year period as well.
I'll move
So-
them both. Second it.
For both. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay.
And, for
Question,
the, yeah,
are we gonna do this in-house or are we gonna go out to GAR or someone else? For
the data verification would still be in-house, but I'm in the process of getting a quote from GAR for the valuation.
Thank
And then I just wanted to update you guys on the exemptions, that we passed at the county level for volunteer firefighters, and then we increased income limits for the senior and limited income disability exemptions. As of according to everything I've been able to find from towns, by the end of November, about 17 out of the 19 towns have been confirmed that they either have already adopted the same levels of the county for the senior and disabled, or will be by the end of November. And then also at 17 out of 19 for the volunteer firefighter exemption. And some of our big school districts, Chatham, Ichabod, and Taconic Hills are all going to be discussing it and hopefully holding public hearings in November as well. And I may be attending those meetings as well as somebody from the county fire coordinator's office. So that's it.
Hope you get better.
you.
Okay. Planning is up.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I just have 3 tonight. The first one is, to appoint a member to the EMC for the Village of Kinderhook.
I'll move it. Second.
And
All in
this,
favor?
Aye.
the second is another EMC appointment for the Village of Alicia.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, carried.
And the third is, authorization to apply for a Clean Energy Communities Action Grant through NYSERDA. This is the second grant. It's sort of a retroactive one for the solar campaign.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
That was it?
That's it.
I think that was all I got, except for telling you have elections.
Yeah,
Next
I
month.
would like to request executive session to discuss personnel matter.
Okay,
I'll make that motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you.
Let's see, let me, why was this?
All right, I'm gonna call the Public Works meeting to order. Up first, we have Highway Department.
I don't know about the order, but.
Well, we calmed everybody down,
There
didn't
you
we?
go.
You know,
That's it.
And right as it hit 5:16, you're good.
that's right.
Right when it.
Right, yeah.
Hi, Tony.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Good, good. Before we get started, yes, I need a haircut. I'm aware.
Ah!
You were just informed. Yeah.
Yep, I hear you. See? The paper.
They're getting you.
Same. Still cost so much money. We completed our hot mix patching of roads, our drag boxing, and we completed 208.74 miles of center line and edge line marking on county roads, and 5.5 miles of paving and shoulder backup on county roads 13 and 2 in the towns of Livingston and Claremont. Bridge crew is currently working on a concrete pad up at Greenport Transfer Station, and continuing our mowing. It's got to be about wrapping up, I think, right, Chris? Yeah, it's just about done. Roadside sign maintenance, and currently doing some landfill road repairs and screening pavement millings, along with some pipe installations and a cross culvert replacement in Commerce Park, and painting stop bars. Personnel update, we hired one motor equipment operator, and also since, prior to this, or after this being done, we did hire a highway heavy equipment maintenance mechanic finally.
Good.
So he starts the 30th, I think it is. No new
If he's here
business.
next month, too, that'd be really good.
What's that?
Because if he's still here next month, that'd be really
Yeah.
good, right?
Yeah, and with that, with the mechanic, we're still down plow trucks. I think as of today, we were down, I think, what did I say, 11? Yeah, 11 plow trucks. That's including frontline and spares. So with the spares we do have left, I think we're still 5 or 6 short for the season. So we're working on it. The truck that last month that we purchased the body for is
Yeah.
actually already back.
Okay,
It's up in the body shop. They did a nice job on it.
Great.
Up there. They painted all underneath. So that'll, once it gets the lights and everything
Yeah.
operating on it, that'll be good to go.
back in service.
Back in service, yeah. And I only have one resolution request tonight, and that's to authorize the chairman of the board of supervisors to enter into an agreement with Partners in Safety to provide drug and alcohol testing to the Department of Public Works,
Move. Second.
and that's for 2024.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All I got.
Question,
Yes,
back to the truck story you just told us, you're short how many trucks
we have 11 plow trucks that are down there.
that are down? So they're all fixable, I take it? I mean,
Um,
are you gonna be
Waiting
short
on parts.
trucks? is what I'm
Well-
saying, if you didn't fix them?
We're, as of right now, we're gonna be short trucks. Some of them have some pretty significant, issues. And we also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, that are due for inspections. And what we've been finding, when they do go in for inspections, a lot of times we're averaging 10 to 20 grand worth of repairs to get them back on the road. So, I don't know where we'll land with those trucks. One of those trucks that's due for inspection is the one we just put a body on. So chances are, since we looked that truck over before we
Right.
made the decision on a body, that it should be pretty good. But we're talking stuff like, broken wheel studs, broken back windows, bad wheel seals. So a lot of it's stuff that can be.
It can be fixed.
Right.
So you have enough money in your account to cover all this kind
We're-
of, to bring up?
Yeah,
stuff
knock
and what
on,
I'm
I don't
asking?
think this is wood, but knock on wood, we're doing, pretty good with
Okay.
our parts budget right now.
Okay.
So the biggest issue right now is getting the parts and having the time
Install
to get them,
done.
done, yeah.
And what are you waiting for as far as replacement vehicles?
I have we still have those 2 Western Stars that we ordered last year. We still don't have those cabs and chassis yet. So, we're waiting on that, and the mower that we ordered last year, we're still waiting on the roadside mower. So obviously we won't be mowing with that this year. But, I don't know the status on those cab and chassis. I thought they were supposed to be close to being done, at least one of them. But then again, they were initially told us back in May we were supposed to have those, so.
And those are destined to be plow trucks or haul trucks?
Yeah, no, they're gonna be plow trucks. Yeah, everything we've been purchasing in terms of dump trucks, are dual purpose. Our plow trucks, we don't have any, like years ago, we used to have the tri-axles that we would just haul with. But we don't really have that anymore. So we buy mostly tandems just for that reason, so we can haul, with the exception of like Kinderhook and Ghent or Lebanon because of the room. Everything's for the most part tandem.
But even if these 2 Western Stars show up, they're not gonna save the fleet.
Correct. That is correct. Yeah.
Be welcome and inclusive.
Yeah. And once they get to wax, it's usually not too long after that. I mean, waxes they're pretty quick. Like I said, when we gave the green light for that body, it was done. It was done as I was getting the, right, wrong, or different, as I was getting the resolution, you know.
So we're gonna wear that new heavy equipment mechanic out.
Yes, yeah.
Fixing up some of the, old stuff, but.
Yeah.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, we're currently, with him coming on board and, one of our motor ones who used to be our grease guy is taking the auto mechanic spot back. So, we'll be full in the shop.
Great.
I do have an interview tomorrow, guys interviewing for one of the open motor one spots. We've got extensive, heavy equipment maintenance, experience, including a heavy vehicle inspection and all that.
Yeah.
So if it is something he's interested in, we'll have the opportunity, we'll be able to pull him off the road if need be and help us get set up in the
Right.
shop. Help us out a little bit, hopefully. So we'll see how that goes, but yeah, we're getting there. I do know, Mike Lawson in my office was talking with the rep from, where we purchased the Western Stars from. And he did say that coming up late this year or next year, there was a municipality that canceled a bunch of trucks and so they had I think he said 15 or 18, I think it was. So it might be something to
Well, I
look
was just gonna say, do you
into.
have a
Yeah.
plan up the road here for what's gonna happen? I mean, if you got 11 down now, let's say you fix 2/3 of them, but I mean,
Right,
eventually they're getting old, so.
Well, keep in mind, and Tony, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Those Western Stars that were ordered last year, those are not any part of the older DOT fleet.
Right, it's,
That was
yeah,
in 2008. So those are older vehicles. Those are 2005 and 2000, at least the 2005.
yeah,
So we haven't even gotten to the.
the 2008 yet.
That's what I'm saying. I'm listening to
Agreed.
what you guys
Yeah.
are telling me and I'm going, well, okay, so what's their plan in the next 3 or 4 years? If they're all getting that older, they're just gonna get older and they'll get better.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
know
they're,
that.
again, the 2008 fleet, it's 16 years now.
Yeah.
And, they're all gonna start hitting, and
Yeah.
that's a major concern.
Talk to Jimmy about that. He wanted to erase the entire
Yeah, well,
purchase
I know,
line for that.
We can't do it.
But that's,
Look ahead.
again, I know a lot of folks are discussing budgets, obviously, and we put in for the budget this year and an increase, understanding that we have to start catching up.
Yep.
Right now, we're falling further and further behind.
That's what I'm
You
looking
can't do it all,
Yeah.
yeah.
$300,000 for one truck.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, over, I think,
25.
yeah, it gets close to that.
And that's through
now,
state
yeah.
bid too, right?
Yeah, that's
So
that's
that's even
with,
worse.
that was off of, Onondaga County's bid. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
And another issue that Tony's been running into is that I know that the highway department has utilized CHIPS and the county use CHIPS funds. But again, when the trucks are taking 2 years for delivery, New York State doesn't like you rolling over, a lot of CHIPS money year after year. I mean, they're really starting to crack down on that as well.
You
So
want it for
it's
chips.
not, yeah,
Right.
exactly. They want it for the roadways and
Right.
not necessarily for the.
So I think we're gonna have to start planning in the future. I think coming up next year, we should sit down and figure this all out.
Tony and I talked about sitting down over the winter. We had a good discussion about this with Public Works during the budget discussion, and then during budget, shops, we've been having further discussion. Tony and I talked about this winter taking the opportunity of updating, because Tony does have a plan that he has been updating. We're gonna bring those numbers to current numbers based on best information we could obtain. And then that way we'll present that to committee well in advance of next year's budget discussion. Because it's coming quick.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not gonna go away. It doesn't heal itself when you're done. No, I agree with that. We have the same thing in Quabbin County. We have to plan it all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just don't buy up all trucks.
Shared services tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a deal on it afterwards.
All right, anything else for Tony?
Yeah, Tony, get a haircut, will you?
Just gonna keep.
I'm
that
jealous,
real.
okay?
Thank you.
Up next, we have solid waste, and I do want to take a moment to let everybody officially know that we did get a letter from Jolene saying that she thinks it's time for her to retire. I have tried to twist her arm into staying for another couple of years, but I think she's actually gonna be leaving us this time around, but, we're definitely gonna miss her, but, you know, we certainly have enjoyed everything she's done for solid waste in Columbia County. So are you presenting or is Wendy presenting? Wendy is presenting. Come on up, Wendy. You can do this.
Show and tell.
Show and tell. All right. I like that.
The brownie mix?
Oh,
Yeah.
I can hand it out now. I mean, it's kind of not going off of our agenda though.
Okay.
This is, can I do that? Just
Sure.
go to food scrap. So these are, what is coming out of our food scrap collection.
Digester.
This was from the 16th. So this has to have a 21-day curing process. And this is the finished product. So it's hung out for 21 days, and we're giving it away to the public. So we have, Greenport has been giving out, finished product.
You had dinner yet?
Chatham has been we've had a lot of, food scraps coming from Chatham, so we are sending out buckets. I have 2 containers filled with the food scrap that Chatham residents can now also, tomorrow, they'll be able to do that tomorrow. But Chatham, yeah, I mean, they have 3 containers, they're filling up the containers weekly, so it's been great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so we're averaging about 600 to 700 pounds of food scraps per week from all the stations.
Yeah.
We just implemented, the nutrition center is participating in the food scrap collection program now. We're picking up twice a week right now. It's new. We're trying to figure out the kinks of it, and they're averaging about 60 pounds a week. It's been a few weeks that we've been doing it. And we'll be introducing this program to the jail as well, within the next couple of weeks. I've kind of been dragging my heels a little bit on it just because we're trying to figure out some logistics on how to get the scrap from the kitchen. It has to stay in the kitchen and then go out at the end of the night. So we're just trying to work out a couple of things that would be a little bit easier for them.
Question, so is this just for the public to bring the food scraps in, or is this commercial too? Right at this moment. I know
So
you started small, so.
if commercial wants to bring it in, it has to be in a 35-gallon tote, like the garbage cans,
Okay.
which are the same cans at all the stations, because that's the only tote that fits in our loader that dumps it into our machine. So if companies, commercial accounts want to do that, that's totally fine. We have a scale there. We can weigh it, come up with a fee structure for that, but it does need to be in the 35-gallon.
Okay.
And
We
they
should
have
talk
to
about
follow.
fee structure going forward on that. in
Right,
order to
right,
get into
yeah.
that, because there's an interest in that.
Yep.
But,
And our department has talked to a couple of restaurants throughout the county that have piqued a little bit of interest in it. So we'll see what happens. Our thing is, you should probably start it slow in the kitchen, start slowly and then continue to build it. So we'll see what happens, but 35-gallon, and they have to follow our protocol, it has to be clean
Okay.
product. but-
Is what you've been receiving at the transfer stations fairly clean? Or are you
Yes.
getting? Yeah.
Yep, it's been, on occasion now, we're finding a random bag, but residents have really embraced the rules and, what we've set forth, and have really just kind of taken off with it. So it's been great.
And what denomination are you sending back to to Chatham? Is it?
Well, so we'll send, our department purchased 2 65-gallon tote type of more of like the storage
storage
totes.
bin.
Yeah.
With lids. So they filled up 2 of those that they'll bring to Chatham on Thursday.
So just tell people to show up with
They'll
little
have to, yeah,
solo
they
cups?
have to have their
Bring your
own
own
little
containers,
bucket.
yeah.
We don't have signs out yet for the finished product, but it is a 4-to-1 ratio. So it's 4 parts soil to 1 part of this, soil amendment.
So is this have soil in it, or this is?
No,
just
this is just
Yeah.
food scrap.
Right.
Yep.
where are you
Looks
getting
like
the soil
compost,
from?
huh?
What's that?
You're just getting the soil locally and you're mixing it in with that process?
No, has nothing. This is just the product.
But where are you getting?
So residents, when they take it, like with compost, you kind of have to, you mix it in. This, because it's not browns and greens, or browns, sorry, you have to mix it a little bit more with the soil that you're adding it to.
Okay, so it's your recommendation.
So it's the Eco Rich is the company's recommendation that it's 4 to 1. So 4 parts of whatever soil you're doing and then 1 part of this. It's just food scrap.
20%.
And so it's super, we call it, it's hot.
So I'll tell people this Thursday possibly they can bring their own receptacle.
I don't know what time he's gonna deliver it on Thursday, but it will be definitely there for Saturday residents,
Okay.
for sure.
You guys did a great job of making that circular, yes.
Yeah.
So,
And then, and they can reap the benefit of what they're doing, so it's helpful. All right, thanks. All right, so Household Hazardous Waste Day, that is coming up the end of October. It is Sunday, October 29th, from 8 a.m. to 12 noon at the Fire Training Center, 50 Brandon Eddy Drive. Gasification. So we participated in a presentation from a company called Clean Peak Energy. They have, they spoke to us about a process called gasification. It's quite popular in Europe. They have over 40 commissioned devices in operation over in Europe. However, the oldest of those is only 8 years, so this is fairly new. The EPA has recognized this type of process, has approved it, not necessarily on the state level, but they are coming to the states. They're trying to kind of set up these operations throughout the state. So we just sat and spoke with them to hear what they had to say. So basically, it is an advanced conversion technology. That's what the ACT stands for, gasification. It will reduce the cost of municipal solid waste. They can also do medical waste, plastic, wastewater treatment, sludge. And they're stating it's a cost-effective solution for the treatment and disposal of various types of waste. Specifically, what we were looking at was municipal solid waste because that's what we are taking. So they'll do organic and inorganic waste. Basically, it will divert that waste from the landfills, which would then mitigate environmental issues. Not something that we're really looking at right now, as there's none in the States, but something that we'll kind of keep our eye on and see how it progresses moving forward. It's an interesting concept. I have not seen the footprint of what it actually looks like. I tried to go online to see what it looks like. They need an acre of land. It takes up a quarter of an acre. Each unit does 6,500 pounds, right? Yeah, per day or something.
That's gasification.
No, 65 pounds or tons per day. That's what it was. I don't know. What's that? I'm sorry.
It's gasification during incineration.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And so there's, the waste.
They're generating electricity.
Right.
Yeah,
So
it's
they're
just
generating
using
syngas,
waste to
really.
energy, right?
Right. So it's syngas is what's coming out. And so they can produce electricity, heat and or fuels.
Yeah, when I went to a NICEAG conference in Syracuse, there was a lot of interest out there, and a lot of the counties are getting burdened with plastics, and
Yes.
it seemed like a good avenue because too much plastic is ending in landfills, but it's clean.
Right.
Is this something that we would have to clean?
No, this is,
No.
And how do they work?
they were looking for a location to come
Yeah.
in and do this as a business.
Okay.
I don't think they're asking us to do it. And they were hoping that we had a location and we had a permit system and all that stuff. We don't have enough room at Bridgeport to
No.
site another building this size. But if they could find a location, and then do this, we would basically just divert our solid waste to them, and they were looking at trying to do it at a cheaper rate than what we're paying to get rid of our solid waste today, but yet have this process. But would the community accept something like that? That's another question, Always.
It's clean, it's clean.
I agree. I mean, and we do need to do something with our waste here in the county rather than shipping it all over the state. That's our challenges. But so it's a very interesting process, as you know, Wendy says, and I just didn't want to be the guinea pig and do it first. You know, I do think we got to keep our eye on it. Something like this is a good idea.
Yeah.
But we're running out of landfill potential.
Exactly. And the other thing that was interesting is they stated that this was basically a good way of getting rid of all the PFOAs, you know, in their process, you know, which has been a concern no matter how we're getting rid of waste today. So I don't know, but something to keep our eye on.
The cement plants do that now, right? Don't they burn?
Yeah, and they actually, this
So,
company says that they
Yeah,
produce a
scrubbers.
fly ash that the cement companies want, you know, so they're, you know,
I know Europe does a lot of this. I've done it. on
Yeah.
certain
Yeah.
different-
that's where these companies
That,
came
yeah,
from.
that's where they came from.
Yeah.
There's about 40 over in Europe that, right now.
It's because they've already recognized that their garbage fees are higher and the cost of electricity is higher, so it pays for them to do this there, but we haven't quite got there.
Right. And I mean, the
Those units
footprint
are
is you
electric
need an
production.
acre at
What's that?
least.
Right,
Units are
set this up,
buildings
once
going
they set it
They
up,
want
and they know.
over a quarter acre. And, you know, with each unit, we would at least need 3 just for what we're doing now.
Right.
So. It's a
Yeah,
pretty
so-
cool process.
Keep us in the loop.
Okay, landfills. We've been doing post-closure maintenance on all our landfills, that have been dating back to 1990. The New York State DEC has recently imposed new regulations regarding custodial maintenance. So our department has reached out to DEC to discuss potentially further reducing and potentially eliminating some of the requirements. So currently, we are conducting post-closure monitoring every 4 years of the groundwater. It was annually and then biannually. And then we are still pumping leachate at Hillsdale, Clobrook, and Ingram. So if,
Does it get tested?
Mhm.
So is it getting cleaner? Okay,
mhm,
I mean, by now, it should be, I would hope so.
It's time for them to take.
yeah.
cut it.
Say enough's enough, yeah.
We've been, you know, doing extensive monitoring over this very wet season, and it's, yeah.
It's better.
Yep.
Okay.
I did forget to mention that our household hazardous waste grant for 2022 has been approved, and we will be being awarded state assistance, 50%, which is a little over 25,000,
25K for 2022.
2022's collection.
So they told you that's approved. We
It
don't know
has
when
been
we're gonna see
approved.
it.
We have some paperwork we have to ship back to them, and we should be
We
seeing
might
that
see the money
soon.
before the end of the year.
That's
Would be
the
good.
hope. Yes.
Or would be happy. Maybe.
Be nice. And then resolution request. The Director of Solid Waste is requesting authorization to increase the recycling user fee, which was implemented in 2019. As such, $75 for county residents, $50 for county residents over the age of 65, and $125 for non-residents. Using to that should say wishing, sorry, Carly, wishing to dispose of recycling at the county-owned waste stations effective at the start date of our 2024 permit sales. Whereas the solid waste department is mandated to collect recyclable material under New York State and Columbia County municipal law, and we are seeing an increase in tipping and transportation fees. So it is necessary to offset the cost to continue the recycling program.
I'll move it. Second.
Motion and second, all in favor. Been a good program, but we do have to keep up with our fees going out the door, so.
Yeah.
Questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
So how many recycling permits did we sell last year? Do you know?
I do, and I probably forgot to bring the paperwork, but I would say, 2,200. You think more than that? How many do you think?
I just want to watch this number because I know we're trying to make this an increase in revenue.
Yeah.
My memory, at least anecdotally, that every time we increase the fees, the number of permits either stay the same or go down because there's a resistance to a fee increase. So,
Sure.
Like, we can be out to each one.
Yeah, I'd like to absolutely
and I
do that.
understand why we want to do this, but
Yeah.
I just, 54% of my town residents are over 65. And it's the over 65 people that are buying the permits. They have the time and the interest to recycle.
Okay.
What is the increase? What was it?
Well, I know the seniors went from
So
35.
seniors were 35, and we're asking for 50. Residents were 50, we're asking 75, and non-residents, which we only saw a handful of, was 100, are asking for 25.
I mean, I think it's still a great value.
Yeah.
I'm not questioning about
Yeah.
Right.
this, what it will generate.
Any other questions for Wendy?
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you again, Joey.
You'll be here next month, right? Okay, all right. We'll have cake, you know?
Well, we'll have.
We'll have cake. I don't know about you, but-
But we'll have cake if you're on it.
From recycled scraps.
That's- Yeah, we have Mr. McDonald in the facility. He's not retiring, thank God. you know?
Not yet. Let's see here, we started, 325, we had to install another handicap door opener or closer on the third floor ladies room, did some office furniture moves. We're basically wrapped up in the project we had up there. I'm just waiting on putting a door, buzzer in for them to allow people in. 401, we did a little painting, new wall pack, cleared some of the trees so the lights were visible. Let's see here at the courthouse, we had to repair a window. I met with the insurance rep. They assigned a roofer to come there to look at it. That storm, I think it was that windstorm, we took on some damage on the roof. It actually, pulled up the EPDM membrane, and it like kind of sucked over a pipe that the parapet wall comes in, and all the water came in underneath it. So it was all, the insulation is just, all popped up. So I'm still waiting to hear from them. Hopefully I'll have an answer because they're going to give me a, recommendation or, hopefully they can help us out with the roof. So, but right now it's repaired. It's not leaking. Everything was patched and repaired. So we're, it's not going to leak, but it does have to be addressed. The public safety building, and we had a lot of door issues this month. I wasn't on a couple of them over the weekend. I don't know what was going on, but stuff just didn't want to work. So we had a lot of repairs on them. And then,
Getting good at it, man.
Yeah.
then we had a problem in the one server room. One of the units that feeds the room is not working. So we had to use the heat pumps from the regular jail, but it's also tied into the sergeant's office. So we have a little way to do it, but it's we have to reroute ductwork just to cool this one room because that's where the jail server room is. So that was, we had some near misses with the servers going down. And the problem is, I wish I could use those air conditioners we bought for DSS and the other places, but there's no way to vent them. And I'm still trying to figure out a way to get them to vent because they're large vents, 14 inch. So, and then of course that's in the middle of, right smack dab
Right in the middle of the building.
So it's like, so it's hard. I'm still working. I think I might be able to do something, but I'm working on that. Fire training, we had they wanted like a little break area on the mezzanine. We've been doing that. Let's see, solid waste, the Gallatin shack is complete. We're working on Livingston and Germantown now and repaired a couple of vents at the landfills in Hillsdale and Clawbrook. And then we just recently had, I had 2 generators go down on the sewer leg. Luckily, they were all under warranty, but it took about 2.5 weeks to fix. So I had to rent a generator to park at one of them just to be on the safe side. And if the other one failed, would be able to take it from one to the other. But I lined up some pump like McCag and some other companies. And, hey, if I need you to pump these out in case of an emergency. So
You know why they're going down? I mean, they're not that old.
no, one was the pistons, and the other one was a fuel pump. But what happened with the pistons, they were on back order. So they couldn't even tell me when they were coming in, and the fuel pump had to be shipped from Singapore. So like I said, the supply chain problem is, still going on, and I don't see it getting any better, but that was a long time to wait, but everything was covered under warranty at least. But like I said, pretty soon I'm working on something with the emergency management. Hopefully might be able to try to get a grant to get a tow behind generator. I'm going to start working on now. So I already contacted them. So, because like I said, that's really the only way to go, because if not, then we got problems, but then, airport, had to replace a couple of the ceiling lights so far. They did an energy upgrade, but the lights that they did were garbage. This was back in like maybe 2017. They're all starting to fail. So I actually found a decent light. So as they start going, I'm just going to replace them. $65 a light, so you can't beat that. So, and they're supposed to last quite a while, new LEDs. So, I got a resolution here, authorizing to accept new maintenance agreement with Accessibility Solutions to service the wheelchair lift at the Fire Training Center. It's kind of like an Elevate, similar to what's something over at 610. So it's a 5-year agreement, and the cost is going to be $1,400 for two visits a year.
Move it. Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Got it. Any questions?
It's disconcerting news about the new generators.
Yeah. So look, they were covered under warranty, but.
Not if we're waiting for parts from Alibaba though.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest one was the fact of the issue with the piston, because it doesn't have that many hours on it itself. So it is very surprising. And they actually have been serviced.
Yeah.
You have a service contract.
They just serviced them in, I think it was August.
Right.
So
So how many
but,
hours do they have on these generators?
not much.
So testing,
The one thing that he did tell me, what he was finding, so what we did, we changed it. Before it was just running on, it's just gonna run. They said they want the diesels to work, so now we got them under load. Before it was just running, just regular, and he recommended that any kind of, if it's a diesel generator, put it under load. If you can afford to go without that quick power hit, like certain buildings, you gotta be careful unless you have a UPS, but.
So they take low oil pressure or something? Or?
He says he thought they were probably dunking up a little bit, but at first, the first one too, what took a while is it took, originally they thought it was a turbo in the one. So when they came down to do that, they swapped that out. That didn't solve the problem. She was smoking so bad, it was called the fire department. Yeah, that's what originated the whole issue. So then they brought some extra techs down, and then that's when they figured it's got to be, pistons in there. So, but they were just down here last week and last Thursday and fixed everything. So,
And what motors are they?
what's that?
What motors are they?
Oh, I have no idea what's on it. I know it's a Cummins generator.
Yeah, they are Cummins motors.
So,
It should be reliable, but not in this day and age. You never know what you get for.
yeah. So, and then, like I said, they were, they were just serviced like a month before the whole thing happened. So.
I have a question. Anything on that rehab grinder?
I've been speaking with McCag on that, and he is in discussions with the owners. Apparently, there have been some financial issues between the two parties. In the interim, I've sent the owner a letter indicating penalties for not being in compliance.
Have they been backing up?
No, we haven't had it, not gone again.
But now we need them to put that load on the generator.
Don't need- We haven't had issues as far as the backups.
They're financing.
Well, again, payments between the two parties. That's,
Oh, between Gant and
and.
McCag. Gotcha.
The board of us, look at that.
Yeah,
So what
but
do you
we've been
think?
monitoring, yeah, but
Yeah.
it's been
They probably
monitoring,
got a leak, it's not pretty clear out there.
but it's been monitoring it and we haven't had issues. thus far.
All right, any other questions for Brian? Now we'll move on to engineering.
Same time next month, I'll
Yep.
ask you.
Evening, everyone.
Hi, Ray.
Hello. Starting off with bridges, so the Stall Bridge, that's the Pleasantville Road Bridge located, between Livingston and Claremont. That project is formally out to bid. The notice has been placed in the paper. We've had quite a bit of, interest from contractors on that particular project. So construction bids are due November 8th. If all goes well, we'd like to be able to award it at the full board meeting in December. And then, contractor hopefully would then be able to hit the ground running come spring and have the bridge open before the end of 2024.
I noticed Ray Heather's got way ahead of Station Falls Bridge.
Again, when you're dealing with county money versus state money,
Right, yeah.
federal money, things can
Different story.
move a lot
Yeah.
quicker, yeah. So,
Just want you to notice.
but yeah.
It's
County
happening.
Road 18, Fishing Game Road, so the contractor's in the process of installing final pavements, and that's gonna continue through, the 20th. They're moving right along on that particular project. If all goes well, we anticipate that that project will be complete and the contractor completely being out of there by the end of the month. I haven't gone up there, so I don't know if they had the opportunity to put in the, signs up.
I
As of
called
yet.
them, you called them?
Yeah, I called Lou, and I know
Check with
Lou
them.
was getting together with Chris as far as locations, and we were okay with wherever Lou wanted to put them. But honestly, I haven't been up there to take a look. I'll make sure I go up there tomorrow.
Did you get my email?
I did get the email, yeah, so I'll
I'll
talk,
send you that if, I don't know if you know who she is, but,
I do.
okay. She
So,
used my language, but I mean, she's not gonna believe the survey. I said, these are licensed surveyors putting the marks down. If they're not good enough for you, you have to hire your own.
so
I just
that,
told her. That's
good, no, so, yeah.
exactly what you gotta do.
So
You can't-
so the question came up at, Town of Clover, town board meeting where a property owner had, asked for the front of her property or the edge of the right of way to be staked out. So this particular individual, the contractor has actually staked out that front line in front of her driveway on 2 different occasions. This started back last fall, where she indicated she wanted to know where her right of way was so she could install plants after the project was completed, so that way they didn't get damaged. This is the one that we had met with the chairman. So I had marked or had the contractor mark it out once. Subsequent to the meeting with the chairman back in August, it was done again. And now she's asking for a 3rd time. We are not in the business, I agree with you,
I said that.
Supervisor, we're not in the business of surveying people's private property. I don't mind meeting with her. I will have a discussion with her, but if she doesn't believe what we're providing,
Right,
the only solution is she hire her own surveyor, land surveyor, and have them.
right. That's exactly what I told her. I said, if you're not gonna believe what we're doing, then there's no sense in us doing it.
She
Because
can-
you're not gonna believe it, so you
Correct.
have to hire your own.
And she provided a FOIL. She submitted a FOIL to the county requesting all the information as far as deeds, how the highway bounds were determined, mapping, and all of that information I provided to her in a response last month. And then she comes to the town board again requesting that we mark it out. I'm not gonna ask honestly, I'm not gonna ask the contractor to do it 3rd time.
I don't care.
But, so my response to her will be, get a hold of a licensed surveyor, and
That was my response.
that's who you need to
That was
have.
the exact response I had to her. I said the same thing. I said, we're not gonna do it again. I said,
Right.
we've already done it twice. If you
Right.
don't believe us. I'm
Exactly.
sorry.
Exactly. It's not gonna change. The
No,
location's not
They're
gonna change.
licensed.
Yeah.
We kept saying that to her.
Most surveyors are busy, so.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Regarding culverts, so the design documents for, culvert 76 3.19, County Route 7 in Gallatin, and then, second culvert on County Route 7 up in the town of, Austerlitz. Those are the 2 large culverts that had received, Bridge New York, grant money.
back in 2018. So both of those final documents have been submitted to DOT for their final approval so they can go out to bid. So I'm hoping if all goes well that we will be able to put those out to bid this winter. So
That one on Oswald that's at the bottom of Crow Hill as you start
Yes,
coming
it
into
is.
the hamlet. It's a beautiful culvert.
yeah.
Or it was.
Yeah, so they've answered all the preliminary comments, and so now it's just the final set that's been submitted. 911 call center conducted another meeting with the architects and the 911 team, primarily dealing with the final comments as well as finishes and so forth. I've actually got some additional information from Brian today regarding a lot of the materials that were used in the fire training center, such as types of tile, ceiling tile, carpet tile, things of that nature. So that way we'll use that as a basis of design. So that way Brian doesn't have to have multiple manufacturers stockpiled and things. We're trying to keep it uniform. They are providing me with an updated schedule as far as when we anticipate the bid, but it's supposed to go up before the end of the year. DSS building, Centrica has completed the majority of the exterior of the caulking of the building. So that's been going really well. Boiler replacement started this week. So what Brian's been doing has been, and his staff have been actually preheating the building first thing in the morning to make sure the temperature is up to temperature within the office space. And then while they're working during the day and they have to take the units out of service, temperature has been rising outside. And so therefore there's not as been much of a
Not bad
demand.
at 60 degrees.
Yeah, they don't need a demand.
They're okay.
The next big one will be tomorrow on the 19th, where it'll be a full shutdown. But again, Brian's staff will go in,
65 degrees.
go in, get in there early in the morning, get it preheated, and we'll be fine. Because again, it is supposed to get up fairly warm tomorrow. So we should, once we get past that first bit in the morning when it's chilly, it's just to take the chill off. DPW garage, National Grid has completed the installation of the underground electrical system. That was done on a Saturday. That was a complete shutdown. Still waiting for one final electrical panel that's to be delivered the week of November 6th. Once that's done, then we'll actually have a final inspection and then be able to energize the solar array. At the airport, contractors completed the asphalt rehabilitation at the terminal ramp area. The one last item associated with that project is to have them come back, do some line work. That is scheduled to happen this Monday, so there'll be a temporary closure of the taxiways, and we've arranged with Richmore so that way they can provide the formal notifications to FAA, which they plan on doing Friday. Regarding the airport as well, so I've received correspondence from the owner of the Meadow Greens Golf Course. I believe that was also sent to the county attorney, as well as supervisor from town of Clobberg, supervisor from the town again. The owner has indicated that he's expressing interest in the potential acquisition of lands, airport lands that are not being utilized for aviation purposes. Really, this is up in the area of where the shooting range is, up on top of the hill, looking to acquire approximately 85 acres in exchange for air rights, an air easement, excuse me, that the county has been trying to obtain from the golf course for many, many years, but has never been able to obtain.
A 1-to-1 exchange of 85 acres for that airspace.
That's my question. I would never go for that. That's what I'm trying to find out. It was very vague as far as what he's formally requesting. He did not indicate whether it was a 1-to-1 exchange, whether it was a monetary exchange or a combination thereof. So what I would request of the Public Works Committee is to allow myself, Chairman Knott, Rob Fitzsimmons, to meet with the attorney and the landowner to get additional detail as far as exactly what they are proposing. Once that's done, then perhaps we can convene with the airport subcommittee and then have a further discussion, even if we want to entertain the idea. Okay. So as long as
I think it's a good idea. Keep moving ahead. He's been asking forever.
yeah, and we've been after that.
At least put it to bed.
We've been after that easement forever.
I know.
As well.
I know.
So again, I would at least to keep the discussion moving, if nothing else. Is that okay with the rest of the committee? Thank you. We've assisted the 911 folks as far as the design and specifications for, their bid documents associated with the site work and road work, with the new tower installations. So those bids have come in. I believe they're taking.
They were approved last night at public safety.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. So we've been busy, helping them out. But again, a good
Rob got
project.
lots of grant money and spent it all one night. you know?
Well, he needs to spend it before the
Yeah, I
end of
know.
the year, yeah.
Yeah.
So I also
That's been
assisted
lingering
them in
for a
the
long
town of
time.
Gallatin is trying to get that project moving because the contractor was ready to move into that site and start doing some site work. So I
Okay.
spoke to the building inspector to try to get that moving and they were open to that idea, so.
If you
And
talk
I'm
to
gonna
him-
bring it in front of my board. I'm gonna see if we can get the building permit fee dismissed as far as cooperative agreements.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Can you speak to the town of Gallatin supervisor and ask them to do the same?
Lead by example.
Thank you. Excellent. Resolutions, oh, my apologies, soil and water building. I do have a walkthrough, with the soil, or excuse me, with USDA for tomorrow afternoon for what's known as a market survey. That's, subsequent to a expression of interest that we had sent in to continue with that lease agreement, okay, or have a new lease agreement with them. So that's taking place tomorrow. Two resolutions. The first one is, seeker regarding a negative declaration associated with the actual construction of the 911 edition out at the fire training center.
Move it.
Get a motion in a second, all in favor?
Kelly, I will need to make, I do have a typo on the actual negative declaration narrative, so I will need to, make a slight amendment to that. I'll get a revised one to you. Okay, so my apologies on that, but I'll get an updated one to you tomorrow. Second resolution has to do with the purchase of handheld electrical landscape equipment. So if you recall, working with Don Meltz and the Climate Smart folks, the county was eligible to obtain $15,000 through NYSERDA towards certain items, including one of the eligible items was handheld electrical equipment, whether that be battery operated or cord powered units. And so we have identified numerous units, and I provided a list of the actual units in which how many are going to each department. And identified the actual line items. So again, it's a request to purchase those units. Obviously, it's dependent and subject to receiving the action grant from NYSERDA, as well as adhering to Columbia County procurement.
Move it.
Second.
Motion in a second, all in favor? Speaking of that, Ray, too, did you get, I forwarded you that email about the NYSERDA grant for the DSS, electric there too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I did see that, 25,000.
25,000.
Yeah, it was in the area of 25,000.
We have to finish it in a year or something, you know, but.
Yeah, but that was
I
good.
have a wall for this chainsaw. They're bone out injured and it's actually a really good machine. I don't know about Cobalt.
Yeah, I've got Milwaukee battery stuff and it's been great.
Yeah, the only reason that you'll see that they're two different companies, Brian has already purchased Cobalt units and has been utilizing Cobalt units. So again, for
Got the
facilities.
chargers and the batteries
Right.
already.
Right. So
Yeah,
we
trying
want,
to get you hooked.
so that's why we wanted to keep at least facilities the same. Highway and solid waste wanted to look at some other brands. So that's why we did that.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Ray? Any other questions from the audience, public?
Is it general comment?
Sure, yeah.
I was here a little bit late and my name is Maya Reed, I'm the part-time assistant committee for the city of Preston. And I was aware that you were possibly going in contact with an architect for the 11 Warren Street building.
Once we closed on it, yeah.
Yeah, and so I guess I'm here to request that there be a public meeting or hearing, because I know the community is very, very, very concerned about the future.
What
of
agencies
this
go in there, yeah.
clubhouse. And so once you start working with an architect, there could be lots of ways to think about that program, space, and really considering continuity of space for the well-being of youth of the county. That program has moved around to different locations, and they are so settled here. It's easily accessible on foot for many of the students and families who use it.
and it's very easy to bring in buses and offload safely. It's a nicely held space off of the main drag.
Yeah.
So if you're bringing an architect in, I'm curious if there are ways to think about how the county could really show the value of young people and how we value them. And as the adults in their world, as residents, young residents, I'd really love to see a bigger conversation
Okay.
about how we would be in place and support them.
I know Chairman Morrell did want to schedule a public hearing. It was mostly about what county agencies are going to go in that building, in the future, but we will be having a public input session. And again, we haven't been able to close on it yet, but,
Great. Thank
so
you
we
very
don't have
much.
any control of that, but
Well, thank
we hope someday to be involved. Okay, we thank you. Anything else? You have a question? Okay. Shot.
Adjourn.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second it.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
When was,